Welcome, welcome. We've got a few minutes to talk together before we announce these extraordinary winners, these women, entrepreneurial, game-changing women who are going to change the world and are going to be supported thanks to this wonderful award. But before we do, could we just take a moment and talk about the amazing Goldman Sachs women that are here, that are part of this community?
It's an unbelievable group, and I was just saying to you backstage, I remember, a number of years ago, if you go back a decade ago,
right,
as we tried to get a great group of senior women to represent the firm here, it was a struggle. And today, we have so many senior women partners that want to be here. We're actually debating, who gets to go, and it's such a wonderful group that's here. It's a diverse group, and I'm really excited about it, really proud.
You should be proud. It is a big achievement to have increased the numbers that you have in the way that you have. Just before we dig into how you've done all that and what your commitment to women and gender equity is, we should mention that this conference is not just a birthday for this community, it's a milestone for you too. Your first year at CEO wasn't really launched, but it felt like it was launched at this conference last year.
It was my first day. October 1st last year, out in California, was my first day as CEO, and I arrived, first morning, arrived at this conference, and I've got very warm feelings about that. We'll see how warm it all is 5 years from now, 7 years from now, when it's all done. But it was an exciting way, and also I think a good marker in terms. I think one of the things you have to do when you take on one of these jobs is you've got to stand up for a handful of things that are really important to you, that are going to matter to you, to the legacy that you want to create, and putting that marker down around my focus on diversity, inclusion for our organization. I think the opportunity, the privilege to participate in the conference was a good way to really put a pin in that.
So let's talk a little bit about what some of the accomplishments have been in this year. Anything actually that you tell us about, but particularly some of the things for women.
Well, you take one of these jobs. I think the accomplishments are you got through the first year and you're moving forward.
Right.
It's the one thing I will say, it went quickly. I mean, I think about the conference last year. It seems like 5 minutes ago, but Goldman Sachs is doing just fine. But I'm really trying to evolve it. I'm really trying to make it a more modern organization. I'm really trying to take all the good things about its focus, its content, its seriousness, its innovation, its entrepreneurship, but also make it more modern, more approachable, more authentic, more human. And I think we're off and running. I've also tried to really make sure the organization is oriented toward clients. It's a client business, and I think the compass has to be constantly focused on our clients, not in the context of how it feels for us, but how our clients experience us as an organization. And I think we've made progress on that. With respect to diversity and inclusion, there's no way, when I look at our industry broadly, there's no way to put positive spin on where the industry is or where it's been. There's definitely progress, but it's not where it should be. I think one of the things I've tried to do is, in the context of my leadership of the organization, I've tried to make it an enormous priority to provide leadership for the organization to move us forward and to really increase the diversity of the organization, the openness of the organization, the inclusion in the organization. And I'm trying to do it by practically challenging the organization to move ahead.
Right.
I talked last year about the fact that we hire about 2,500 to 3,000 people out of school a year, and it was just unacceptable to me that that wasn't a completely diverse group. And a couple of years ago, I went to our board and I said, we're going to change that, and we're going to do it over the next few years. And I'm pleased to say that 2 years in, we've basically gotten there. When I look at the summer group, the group that will come in next summer and start in 2020, it's over 50% women. We had targeted 10% black professionals, 14% Hispanic professionals, and we're meeting those goals. But that's just a step. If you really want to get to a diverse organization, you've got to set other things in place to change the way you hire. Lateral hiring is an enormous problem, so we put a Rooney Rule into place. And we're pushing harder and thinking about how we bring people in laterally. But the big thing that I think I'm doing and I'm trying to do is to publicly hold us accountable.
Right.
So we put out in a public way kind of a summary of the things we were committed to doing aspirationally as an organization back in the spring. And in the context, I guess I lost my mic. In the context of that, we put it out there publicly, and it's a way of saying to the organization, hey, this is what we're trying to do. and we're going to hold everybody accountable. And you link it to compensation, but more importantly, you link it to the representations you make so that you know you're going to be accountable for moving it forward.
One of the things I'm always very moved by when I interview CEOs or very, very senior executives, when they take on big things that are going to be their legacies later on, is the patience and the resilience they have to say the same thing over and over and over again to people within their organizations who have been treasured performers for many, many years, and now you're asking them to do something that's very, very different, and then hold them accountable in a public way. That to me is the ultimate leadership skill, because you generate that moment where I'm saying this to this treasured person in a fresh way, even though I've just said it 75,000 other times, because we all need to get on board with this very big thing. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it takes to be that kind of leader, and how you can make sure that you and your agenda scales without wearing yourself out.
Well, change is hard. Someone said last night in one of the discussions, people don't like change.
They don't.
People do not like change. They want to move forward and do what they're doing, but they don't like to change. So to get people to change, to your point, I mean, this is very simple, but this is one of the things I think about. There are certain things that you have to say over and over and over and over again. You have to say them so many times that it feels like you're driving yourself crazy. And just when you think you've absolutely said it so many times you can't say it again, people are probably just starting to hear you.
Right.
And you have to say it again.
Right.
And it's it's an aspect of kind of communication in a big organizational context. And it's definitely bigger if you're dealing with tens of thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people. But I think it's important that you repeat things. And I think you also have to recognize as a leader, taking the other side, when you say something, people are listening. And
right.
So, the counter to that with some things, I know when I'm in a meeting and we're talking about something strategic that we want to spend time on, if I say, I kind of think we should consider whether or not we should turn left, there's a portion of the organization that's going to be running left.
Right.
Just because I said we're considering it. In other words, let's get ahead of where leadership wants to go. And so there's this balance of people do listen, but on some things that are really change, the big things as you're talking about,
yeah.
you've got to say them, you've got to tell people what you're going to say, you have to tell them, you've got to tell them what you said, you've got to do it, over and over again. And hopefully over time, if you live by those actions, and that's very, very important that leaders live by the actions,
right.
you actually will start to make progress.
So before we bring these two extraordinary young women up, could you please tell us a little bit about Launch with GS?
Sure. I mean, this fell into the category of, another thing we were talking about and saying, how can we use our platform to actually move forward on something we think is very, very important? There's an enormous gender gap around capital getting to women that are starting businesses, getting to women that are allocating capital, that are asset managers. And by the way, it's not just women, it's also people of color, other diverse populations. The capital is not getting there. So we decided to create a platform, use our resources as an investing platform. When we created a year ago, Launch with GS, we committed $500 million to it to start. We've funded about $100 million so far. We've had over 6,000 businesses wow. that are women founded or founded by Black professionals or other diverse professionals come to us. We've interviewed or seriously thought about 2,000 of those businesses, and we've made a handful of investments, and we'll continue to deploy capital. And so we're trying to use our platform and the resources of the organization to try in a much more directed way to get capital moving in that direction. And so we're excited about it.
Just big bottom line, why does entrepreneurship mean so much?
Well, entrepreneurship, when I think about, and I know this is a global audience, but it's a US-centric audience to some degree. Entrepreneurship and innovation in this country, in this economy, is so important to our economic vitality and also some of the things that really make us unique and different. And so all of us, I think, have to support innovation and entrepreneurship in a variety of different ways. And we've tried as an organization, given our platform, to do that with a variety of programs that try to get capital and education
yeah.
To entrepreneurs that are starting businesses. 10,000 Women, which we talk about here, has directed over $140 million to women that are running businesses in developing economies. We now have a partnership with the IFC where we've funded, in terms of loans, to try to get lending capital from institutions, about $1.5 billion, into that community. And so we're trying to find ways to use our platform to accelerate that entrepreneurship because it creates jobs, it creates growth, and it's vitally important both here in the US and around the world.
Speaking of what's vitally important, it's time for us, David and I would like to welcome to the stage two of our winners of the Goldman Sachs Fortune 2019 Global Women Leaders Awards, Lara Ayoub of Jordan, the digital director of Mamlaka TV, co-founder of SADAQA, and Xuemei of China, CEO of Yunnan Holy Flora Horticulture Industry Company. Please welcome these winners to the stage. Congratulations.
How are you?
so much.
Congratulations. Nice to
Congratulations.
see you.
Thanks for having
Please
me.
come
Congratulations. Nice to see you.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Oh, it is so exciting to have you.
Thank you. Excited to
So
be
exciting to have you. Lara, I'm going to have you tell us first a little bit about your winning project.
Thank you very much. First of all, allow me to thank Goldman Sachs and Fortune for this amazing award and recognition. It comes at an important time in my life, and I'd also like to thank Vital Voices, Elise Nelson, for all the support they have extended to the women leaders of their network over the 9 last years. And to be honest, my project comes out of a sense of urgency for the women of Jordan. When I was transitioning from, in 2012, from television, I work in digital media for the last 16 years. When I was transitioning from television, print to television, I was also transitioning into motherhood. So how many mothers do we have in the audience? So you all understand the challenges of being a mother. I was in my mid-30s, but I wasn't prepared for the challenges that came with the work-life balance. And because of that, I wish I knew what mentoring could have done to me earlier if I was equipped to know that I could be enabled, that I have rights, I have labor rights, I can negotiate and ask for better conditions at work. So during that transition, I also co-founded an NGO called SADAQA, which means friendship.
Oh, I said that wrong, I apologize.
Yes, it's okay. SADAQA means friendship in Arabic. And the reason that we established SADAQA was because we needed to create family-friendly work environments for women of Jordan that can help her enter the workforce and stay there. So there are 3 milestones for women in anyone's life. When she graduates from school, university, and enters the workforce, that is the first phase. And the second phase is when she decides to have a family, if she decides to have one. That's 15 years later. And then when she leaves to retire. So my challenge came in the middle of my life. So when I come to these summits, I look at all of you, I say, okay, there are CEOs in the 60s and in the 70s and the 50s. There is possibility. And when I look at the young girls of Jordan, because give you a background about Jordan, 70% of the women in Jordan are under the population of Jordan are under the age of 30.
Right.
And more women are in university than men. Yet, the economic participation doesn't exceed 18% in the last decade. And the 3 barriers to entry to the workforce are lack of daycares, lack of transportation, and pay inequity. So SADAQA is focusing on increasing the economic participation by creating daycares and focusing on transportation.
Well done.
And this project will focus on girls in schools and universities to give them a 360 coaching experience where they can learn their labor rights, learn their what gender inclusion means, so that they can go to a job interview and demand exactly the right conditions for them, to prepare them, to let them know life skills, wellness. I was just in Brazil. I came back from Brazil with Vital Voices, where I was pampered by Vital Voices, actually. And their partnership, it was a partnership between Vital Voices and Johnson & Johnson, which I discovered. This partnership happened in a summit like this.
Well done. Well done.
And the network is essential to grow the network so that you as a woman can expand. And once again, thank you so much.
Congratulations, Xuemei, welcome.
Thank you.
Please tell us about your project.
Okay, hello everybody. It's my honor to be here, so I should thank Goldman Sachs to give me these opportunities. I'm Fei from Yunnan Holy Floor horticulture industry, CEO of this company, and also the Goldman Sachs 10,000 women graduates. So it's my honor to share my project that growing rose at lowest plateau. As a founder of this company, I have spent 20 years in flower industry. After graduating from 10,000 women, I inspired how to give back to society. So that's I want to give some support to the left behind women. That is where their husband and children have to working in the city for living. So they're so determined and so strong to sacrifice everything to keep the family running. So that is my project is aiming to help this woman, giving them some techniques and skills to help them manage more profitable products such as rose. With our help, they can increase their income about 27 times. So that's wonderful.
That is.
That is.
Great.
Yeah. By sharing skills and practical techniques, I think we also can give them very good products, and company will purchase all the products they produced. So that is very helpful. This kind of I think the core structure design that organically matched the profit business model to the I think that's a strong social need. So that is, I think, is very helpful for this woman. They just want to have their dream. They want to have their own family farm. So I can help them to give let them come a tree. So I think Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women project is really giving me some help and inspired me a lot.
Beautiful.
Terrific.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We are out of time. You can learn more about these extraordinary women, these extraordinary projects, and of course the wonderful work that Goldman Sachs is doing on many fronts behind the scenes in your program and on your app. Just join me in congratulating them once again.
Thank you.
And knowing that all this work is going to be planting seeds all over the world for women and their families everywhere. And thank you, David.
Thank you.
So much
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.